Hello, welcome back to another After Effects video. In this I want to look at lights in After Effects. So, just as with a camera you can press Ctrl Shift Alt and C to get a new camera, you can do Ctrl Shift Alt and L to get a new light. And lights have got a bunch of different settings. There's a lot of different words like how light diffuses, like the specular glint on certain sort of glossy objects maybe that you can sort of think about with lights. But in general the most important settings are these ones here: intensity, cone angle and cone feather. So we're going to leave the default and we're going to choose a spotlight. Now, another also thing to mention with lights is that typically 2D layers are not affected by light. 3D layers, they have a default ambient light. And they're the two different types of light that you've got. You basically have a source light or you have an ambient light. So spot is an example of a source light. All right, and you can see what happens. Essentially, it places, we've got the position and we've got the point of interest similar to a camera. Point of interest is there and the position is nearer the camera or whatever, nearer, in front. So what we could do is we could say we want to keep that point of interest because this is what we're looking at, and we want to move the position only. So we can find our spot where it says XZ, hold down the Control key, and we're going to move that over here. So you can see all the values of position are changing, all the values of point of interest are remaining the same. So we could position it somewhere like that. Okay, so now we can take a look. If we press this and press AA, similar to a camera, we can see a bunch of stats. So again, we can see essentially the stats you saw in the menu. So if we change the intensity here of the light, you can see it's going to go below 0 as well if we wanted to darken an object. So you can do that. We'll leave that one at 100 though. Now the cone angle, we take a look, we can see the cone angle here. You can see what happens if we lower that. So that's going to go into a specific area here. So if we change it to a low cone angle, and then we lower the feather, what you're going to see here is we're going to get this sort of spotlight effect. So everywhere is dark apart from this sort of area. And this is obviously good if you're doing like a dark shot, you want to focus on a specific thing. The other alternative as well that you can do is you can do a larger cone angle and a large feather. And that kind of like lets everything sort of diffuse. Let's briefly look at how to do some animation with this. So you can see I've currently got a couple of these video clips. They're at the same position on the Z, obviously different X's, 4286 on the Z. And you can see their X's are going from -256 to 2107. All right, so let's do Control Shift Alt L light. And you can see it puts the light in the center. We're obviously going to need to change that. So if it's at -4286, so if the Z is at 4286, let's put it, say, about 3,500. So that will put it in a reasonable spot there. And we also need to make sure that we have our point of interest. So our point of interest is probably going to be, we can at least take a value from this position, right, as the point of interest. So that would do the point of interest there. Let's say the way I want to do the animation is we want the light to go from left to right, and then the point of interest is going to go from right to left. Okay, so from this position, actually, we can fairly straightforward animate it. So let's start by doing the positions. Say -1000, right? And then by the end of it, we want to be all the way on the other side. So obviously, because we're quite far back, it's a lot bigger than the 1920 that we would normally need to go. So you can also press Shift as well to go quicker. So that gives you a demonstration of how you can sort of alter between the two different sources. But yeah, you can see exactly what happens here. But we will talk about lighting more in the coming episodes. So until next time, thanks for watching.